We got the birds chirping. Get situated in this. We rolling.
Hello.
Despite the less than perfect appearance of my skin, for some reason, I have noticed I have bouts of worse acne than at 29, 30 than I had as a teen.
That's cystic acne.
Granted, I didn't hit puberty till like 19. Got my first pube, and then I was going gray the next day. Honestly, if there is a God, he was clowning when he thought of my genes. He was like, give him a bunch of earwax.
Oh, that's waxy.
It must be a thyroid issue. My dad has a history of thyroid issues. He has spoken with me about it in the past, just warned me, you might want to get yours checked regularly. And if there is an issue, you go on medication. It could help with moods and depression and skin.
Tryna be ready.
But I've been to the doctor. Last I was there 8 years ago. They tested me. No, it was less than 8, but you know, I'd say a normal person, if I told you the last date I went to the doctor, they'd be like, you should go back. But they tested me, said it was fine. I'm like, are you sure? You don't want to put a finger in my booty hole for a moment? Check that out? They're like, that's not even a part of the procedure for thyroid. I said, you guys are quacks. I guess I'm more the holistic route. Put an object in me, rectally. You know what I'm about. And I'll take a turmeric bath. We'll be fine. Little matcha exfoliation and an anal cleanse. I'll cure up just about anything, or so I was told in Denver. But no, so I guess maybe thyroid's not an issue. We're here right now, though. Skin a little rough, but I'm way past the point of being concerned about such a thing. It's not like I would talk about that for 2 to 3 minutes at the beginning of an unnamed podcast without the beginning hints of a structure or purpose for that matter. I don't even, at the time of recording, I don't know what the episode this is. There was an episode 1. It never came out. I teased it even, and I feel bad about that. Specifically, I teased the TGI Fridays waitress. I was like, Shirley, check it out. Episode 1 of the pod. She was like, wow. That's good content. You want your burger microwave? A couple more seconds. Oh, and then even a couple folks were kind enough to reach out or express real interest, eagerness, and I appreciate that, and I'm sorry. I am following through. That's my new MO. I follow through on everything. It's just you've got to understand, anything beyond an impulse quick creation, like a 10 to 15 second video that I think of, and I'm like, great idea, I'm going to film that, put it out as soon as possible. If it's anything beyond that, any more thought than that, audio projects, video stuff, sits for ages in the editing stages or post-editing where I maybe want to touch it up, but it's a culmination of factors. Self-doubt, a thigh rash.
Ooh.
There's been a dude working outside for easily 45 minutes. The garbage men were here for a while. I figured I'd take the opportunity to sweep up the room a little bit. Dust. It was smelling like crud in here. Stanking up in this hoe, to be honest. And I'm so cleanly. But we live with a cat. She's elderly. She's very cool and honestly the most beautiful person. But she has some kind of grotesque habits. And her litter box is hidden away in a wooden apparatus. It looks like a little small cabinet or a shelf. And that's the best we could do with tucking away the litter box. In this thing, in the office here. But she has accidents. Sometimes she decides, hey, I want to take a fucking shit around every square inch of this room. And I'm going to drop turds everywhere.
I'm gonna drop some turds, bitch.
And kick litter somehow onto the fucking ceiling like a flying squirrel, spinning through the air, projectiling shit and litter on the walls. And maybe being dramatic, she just like occasionally poops on the floor and we're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Wrong with
Sneeze, you're cooler than this. And Sneeze is cooler than that. But sneeze is another story, dude. So far, what have we even touched on? Thyroid, rectal exams, the room smelling, the first episode that's been sitting, and I like parts of it. But there's also negative tones that seep their way in the middle. Once anyone starts conversing and analyzing and dissecting and hating on the art of what anyone else is doing, or lack thereof art, it changes the mood. It goes from creating to hating. And I'm trying to create, not hate. That's a good quote, dude. Holy shit. That's gonna be on like a My Mixtapes meme. A very fucking pixelated, grainy old meme with some like weird desert sepia tone. I'm wearing a pair of Hurricanes by the Game and baggy jorts. And an old Pirates fitted sideways. I'm trying to create, not hate. Because it's one or the other. What are you doing? I fall into both categories.
Fuck is your born?
It's hard not to when you've grew up defending yourself. And then you're thrown right into kind of a harsh early adulthood, adolescence with addiction and trauma. And negative circumstances. And an unorthodox family situation. I didn't have it like anyone else. I didn't have it like everyone else. I had to deal. I had to make a way. We go through things. You take that old insecure bully. You put him in new, real, frightening situations he never thought he'd be in. He takes to the misery. He sort of must internally love these stories and building these stories. And that's why he throws himself into stuff like this. You don't choose legal issues. You don't completely choose halfway houses. You certainly don't choose prison time. You don't choose sodomy.
Dang.
What you do choose is how you move forth, how you process, how you learn. How you learning? Are you learning?
Huh?
Baby girl, I ask you, is you learning?
Oh.
Told you back there, then you turning kinda green. What you doing? What you eat? Shawty ate a casserole, now her asshole turning green and it's looking kinda mean.
Shut up.
Not my best, but fucking we gotta ease back. I used to do this for a living as a teen when I was busier. You need a schedule. School, practice, coming home, doing a video,
Hey, you doing video?
talking in front of the camera, gaping,
Hooray.
dancing, ventriloquism, freestyle rapping, prank calling, sending death threats to local Methodist churches. Anthrax was big at the time. But you've done one anthrax prank, you've done them all. There was going to be a theme to each episode. You don't necessarily have to get to that. Sometimes you just let something be what it is. That's what I've learned. And you could leave something behind, or you could chime in and make your thing out of anything. It's just got to not lead to suffering. Nothing can lead to suffering, and a little bit of suffering is healthy, and it's okay to let yourself feel that. But for a prolonged period, I have a few words for you. But I've been there, I've wallowed in it. The thing is, no one feels bad for a charismatic, good-looking guy. So that victim stuff never worked for me. We're growing, gang. You're growing as we speak. Do you know what you're listening to right now? Do you know who you're listening to right now? Sometimes I'm not sure who. I've gone under many aliases. Brussels sprout shawty, preferred Walgreens shopper, Oscar Beyblade Torres, Big Bad Picoline Olive, 240 ounces and an L, and Mr. Pour Tapioca pudding all over your girl's chest.
Who that is?
And it's alright to be all those things. You gotta find the authenticity in all of your identities. And you gotta stray from the incredibly dark or the incredibly selfish or the incredibly hateful or seeking of self-gain. But you cannot guilt yourself for years on end. For any short period you find yourself living that way. Sometimes we have a substance abuse problem. Sometimes we're addicted to the uterus. Sometimes we're addicted to cock. And sometimes mom and dad weren't so good to us, and now we bungee cord our ball sack to a Jeep Grand Cherokee out in Lenape Park and tell Spud up in the front seat to gas it and go. And sometimes we just drink too much Java. But what it's really all about is letting that marinate and seeing what it does to us and looking at why it is we want that to do to us. And is it good? Is it selfish? Is it graceful? Shooting heroin. Mother, I'm shooting heroin. It's my graceful way of escape.
Mother, you motherfuckers. I told you once, I told you 1,000 times, put the pretzel nuggets back in their rightful place.
That's lay fucking random, but it's hard to say whether or not being cryptic is good for entertainment value. We'll see when I watch this back, because I don't know what's happened.